Are you overwhelmed by not only all the things to do to market your book, but how on earth are you going to pay for it all? A website host, email service, advertising, coaching, courses, virtual assistants, the list goes on and on. Today on Book Marketing Mania, my guest and sweet friend, Becky Kopitzke, is sharing how you can earn book marketing money by selling digital products. Becky is one of my favorite bloggers and authors. I love her heart for encouraging others. She's a wife and mom and a nonfiction author of 4 books, including her most recent release, Love Because: How to Change the World One Blessing at a Time. Becky is also a professional writing coach and co-founder of Ministry to Business, which you'll hear more about today. Becky's passion for helping Christian communicators strengthen their messages and earn an honest income from their talents is contagious. I couldn't wait for her to come on the show and share how we can earn money to market our books by selling digital products. I know you're going to love her just as much as I do. So let's get to it. Hi, I'm Kim Stewart, and this is the Book Marketing Mania podcast. Let's learn and share together what's working now to meet new readers, market your message, and make a bigger impact online. So, hey, Becky, I'm so glad you're here today to serve our Book Marketing Mania listeners.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Kim. Thanks so much for the invitation. Always love talking about books and marketing. Those two things together, that's my happy place.
Yes, absolutely. Mine too. I would love it if you would share a fun fact about yourself.
Oh, fun fact is that I originally started as a songwriter. So my college career was in music. So I have a degree in music performance and contemporary styles. And I've always loved the art of weaving words together. So lyrics were a really big thing for me when I was a songwriter. And I say back in the day, I'm a has-been songwriter now, but it was my goal for a long time was to be a singer-songwriter. But out of that, I think God really spun in me a love for words. And then I started working. I know you've got a music degree, you've done some editing for publishers and that kind of thing, music publishing. I started working in traditional marketing communications because I could write. And out of that, God really just built in me a love of writing prose, of writing marketing material, then I started a blog. And so all of that grew from this love of words through writing song lyrics.
Yeah, I bet that does play.
Even now, some of my favorite authors have just lyrical, beautiful prose. And so that's always been a part of my DNA, I think. And so that long ago, I wanted to be a rock star.
Wow. Well, you are at writing books, right? And about the topic we're going to talk about today, for sure.
Right. We're all rock stars in our own way.
That's right. Hey, we also did a whole episode recently with Amy Wicks on our Enneagram numbers and how we all approach book marketing. So I'd love to hear what your Enneagram number is.
I love Amy, first of all.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Okay, I'm a bit ashamed to tell you that I am a 3, but I'm heavily balanced by a 2 and a 1. So I get things done, but I still love people.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I work with a lot of 3s and we've had a lot of 3s as guests on the podcast. So that's so fun. Okay. So yes, you definitely get things done. I know you have a lot on your list to get done. I would love to hear, since we're going to talk all about digital products and hopefully making money, for our ministries and business. I would love to hear, Becky, how you got started. You've wrote, multiple books and, I know you do speaking, but how did you get started in looking at it more than a ministry and more as a business?
That is a very good question. I will tell you that for years, I had the ministry mindset, which I still do, right? The work that we do, especially if the books that we're writing or the blog or the podcast that we're hosting, if it is meant to share the truth of God, then it's a ministry. But all occupations are a ministry for the believer. And so the way I look at it is now I'm recognizing that not only did God call me to write a blog and then to write books, which I did for years and years without an expected return, but he also called me to do that now as a vocation. And when I recognized, there was a day that my husband and I were having a conversation. My husband has been wonderfully supportive all these years. I now have 3 traditionally published books. I'm working on a devotional right now for Our Daily Bread. I have been blogging for over 10 years. And my husband looked at me one day and said, this is your hobby because you're not generating a return from all the work that you do to actually cover the costs of the time and the effort that it takes to do the work. And at that time, those words cut me deeply because, and he didn't mean them poorly. And I understood where he was coming from. We were just having an honest conversation about the amount of work that I was doing to serve people in what I was calling a ministry and what that was taking away from not only our family time and my focus, but our family budget. I was paying everything that I was earning. I was reinvesting into the ministry of marketing books or trying to gain more email subscribers for my blog. And I realized we reached a point where I had a skill set that could contribute to the family income and not just drain the family income. So I started shifting my mindset from one of this is solely ministry to recognizing that it is a faith-based business. And it's a subtle shift, but it's one that I think is really important because it places a particular type of value on the work that we do. Now, the work that we do is highly valuable, whether we're getting paid for it or not, because there is income attached. It does not mean it's more valuable. I've always believed that because I've called myself a stay-at-home mom for many years as well. Right. Never would I want somebody to say that my role was less valuable because I didn't have a salary. But I think I started treating my writing work with more, I don't know, maybe more respect for myself when I started realizing that this also could be an income. And it was honoring to my husband to trade my time for some income. And when I recognized I had a skill set that could sustain not just my family, but my ministry, that's when it really took off because I had been spending so much money trying to keep my blog and my book marketing afloat. And when I realized that I also had the ability to earn money to cover those costs, that's what enabled me to continue doing the work that I love to do and that God called me to do. So for example, you know what it costs to run, whether it's a podcast or a blog or to market a book. I was paying for third-party publicists for one of my books. I was paying for social media managers. I'm paying for ConvertKit. I'm paying for my website, all of the expenses. I mean, even just the endless ink that my, my very cheap printer needs to use. And all of these expenses were not being covered, even after a book advance, even after some monetization on my blog. And so I recognized it was not only okay to generate an income from the work that I did, but it was actually good stewardship. So that's when I started shifting my approach toward what I do. It's absolutely still a ministry, but it is okay and wise to generate a God-honoring income from it, using God-honoring principles. You know, it's not about earning money for the sake of money. It's about earning money because of what it can do and how it can sustain and continue to empower the ministry that God has called me to as a vocation.
You can just do so much more, right? Whenever you have that income coming in. And I imagine that's a conversation that a lot of our listeners have had, as well as myself with my own husband. So I certainly appreciate that. So tell us about the different offerings you do have in addition to the books you sell.
Yeah, well, I started, first of all, by selling some digital products that were related to my books. And so I write books for women, wives, Christian living, moms, but then I've also started doing more coaching to other writers and others in ministry who want to learn how to monetize, to keep their ministry sustainable. So I have a series of products that are related to my women mom audience. I started by writing some digital Bible studies and a devotional that was related to one of my books. And those products alone I love them, and they serve people beautifully. And then I also switched gears to creating products that can help other people do what I was doing, which is, for example, learning how to earn a God-honoring income from your ministry, whether you are writing or speaking. And so I teamed up with some other writers and speakers in our space. I teamed up with Lisa Jo Baker and Katie Reed and Jonathan Purifoy, who is Christy Purifoy's husband, and he is a business consultant. And the four of us formed a company called Ministry to Business. And we put out a digital product. It's a $29 digital guide. It's a 90-page digital guide. And it essentially shares everything that we know in 20 different categories, 20 different strategies on how to earn an income from the work that you do as a writer, as a speaker, as a podcaster, as a coach. How to do that in a way that keeps your ministry sustainable. So that guide was the first top-selling product that I have created. And I learned so much from various courses I've taken or various experts or coaches that I followed. And I pulled all of that knowledge together to create a sales funnel for our own digital product that teaches people how to monetize. And from there, it just blossomed. And my understanding now of how to set up an automated sales machine behind a product that you have to offer, what needs to be done and how to do it well, and how to do it in a way that can reach more people in less time, so that the work that we do, we can work in our sweet spot, right? So set up an automated sales funnel so that the product is selling behind the scenes while I work on writing devotions or I go to a volleyball game with my kids. So that's really the goal, is just for me, is to set up that type of system. So again, I started with my own devotionals, my own Bible studies for moms and children, and then the Ministry to Business Guide. And now I have an extensive online course on how to create and sell digital products. So I've run the gamut from small PDF downloads to a more interactive, comprehensive digital product, the guide, to now a full-blown e-course. I've actually done a few e-courses before, but the one that I'm focused on right now is the digital products course. And there's so many different types of digital courses that we can create to share what we know, regardless of who your audience is. And so that's what I love about the digital product space, is that there's room for everybody.
Yes, so
room
true.
for a variety of topics and a variety of audiences to glean your wisdom, what you have to share in a digital product, so that the income you generate from that can continue to support your passion projects, whether it's writing a book or doing some sort of painting, or maybe it's, selling your art, or whatever it is that you love to do. You can continue to do it when you are using the skills that you use for what you love to do to build a sales funnel to generate a floor of income. It's sort of a full circle.
Yeah, it is. When you were talking about, the money that we spend to run our ministries and businesses, all the behind the scenes money, but then it's also all the courses we have to take, right, to learn how to do some of these things, and the coaching that we need to do it successfully. And all those things certainly add up. So I have to give a shout out for your Ministry to Business Guide. So, when I first downloaded it, I was like, oh, this is a little PDF. I love these gals and they're great. I know they could teach me something. So I'm going to download this little PDF. Holy cow. I mean, I was so blown away, because it is like all these things, right? But it's not like just a list of things. I mean, you guys go into some major detail on how to do each of these things, like the speaking and how to do digital product. I was so blown away by it. So kudos. That's an amazing product. And we'll definitely put a link in the show notes for that.
Fantastic.
So speaking of courses, so an author, if they wanted to develop a course surrounding their book topic, how would you suggest and I know this is like, they need to really dive into your course to learn the details of this, but just kind of at a high level, would they start thinking about that when they're writing their book, or is it something that they do afterwards to take their readers maybe on a deeper journey? Or do you find there's people that maybe don't want to read a book and they would rather take the course instead?
It's all of the above. So you can definitely, if you're considering doing a course to accompany your book, it's great to have that in mind as you're writing the book content. But if you've already written a book, if you already have a book that's been in the stores for a while, then why not consider creating a supplement to that book in the form of some sort of online teaching, an online course, because it's a wonderful resource, like you said, for those people who really prefer that medium, or maybe they enjoy that medium as a supplement to the book. Because consider how many opportunities there are, not only for individuals, but for small groups to engage in your book, if there is also some sort of video component or teaching component where they feel like they're interacting with you. So it's sort of an opportunity to market, to promote yourself at the same time you're promoting your book, because people want to see your face. They want to hear what you have to say. They want to connect with you as the author. Not to glorify you, the author, right? It's always about the content, and the focus for us as Christian writers and speakers is on glorifying God through our content. But God has given us the gift and the ability to deliver that. So to do that in some sort of a video format helps the reader to connect, and you help your reader then to explore the book content in a way that it is fresh for them, that is interactive for them. So definitely, if you're writing a book right now, consider if you have reflection questions at the end of each chapter. That's something I like to do at the end of each chapter of each book that I write, list of reflection questions for a small group. How can you condense some of what you've talked about in each chapter, or present maybe with some new illustrations, some new stories, some in a fresh way, summarize the content of that chapter so that they do still need to read the book in order to fully understand, or in order to get, it's not a repeat, right? It's not a repeat, so that there's a reason people will want to to dive into your book. There's a reason people will want to dive into your video. And the two things can be complementary. And then not only have you built a stronger connection with the audience, but you are enabling them to build a stronger connection to your book material. And it's perfect for small groups. I will tell you, Kim, I don't know about you and your church, but my church right now is really leaning toward video-based studies for our women's Bible studies because it just lends themselves. Yeah, people can't get together, or even if they can, they like to have someone teaching from the front. And it's a way that enables women to get solid teaching without stretching the church staff, because they don't have to do the teaching, and consider how that is an asset to your book and another motivation for a small group to purchase your book and to go through your study in a church or organization setting. So again, having said that, you don't have to have that in mind from the very beginning, but it is something that is definitely valuable to consider. But one caveat is make sure if you're traditionally published that you have a conversation with your publisher about what rights you have to that material. Okay. Because it's possible that in the contract, it will say any ancillary product, any supplementary product, whether it is a video or a workbook or a study guide, would be considered their material, their rights, their ownership, unless they relinquish it to you or so if you are at the beginning stages, consider putting in your contract, I want to create a video study based on this. And it's possible that your publisher will actually help cover the costs of that. Consider even publishing that for you, in which case it becomes a different scenario from doing your own digital product. But again, the benefits of engaging with your audience through a video course remain the same, whether you are publishing it or your publisher is handling that.
Yeah. When you were talking through that, I was thinking I could already hear people are going to ask like a video course. So let's just talk about that. Like immediately people think you have to have this huge production, right? That's going to cost a ton of money to do these really professional videos. Will you just speak into that, what you've seen from your courses or anybody else's?
Yes. I used to have that same thought, and I have so gotten over that. In fact, some of the best courses that I have taken have been very grassroots. So you can think of what do you see on Right Now Media or, from beautiful produced video. There's definitely space for that, but it doesn't need to look like that in order to be valuable. In fact, you can very easily create a beautiful video of you communicating with your audience with your iPhone and some free editing tools. And it does not have to be produced. It doesn't have to, you don't have to have a specific scenery or, cut in with other video or other images. It can be so simple. It can be as simple as you talking into the camera, because what would you do if you were going to stand in front of an audience and teach this material? Consider that is all you need to do for your video. Okay. And it requires just a few simple tools. I do recommend some lighting in front of you, such as a simple ring light or some diffuser set to make sure that your lighting is good and your background is not distracting. It could be somewhat stylized, but my goodness, just put a table and a plant and a stack of books behind you, have some good lighting, and just start talking. That honestly is all that you need in order to provide content of value. And from there, you can provide supplemental handouts, but Canva is perfect for supplemental handouts. You could just use one of Canva's templates to have a professional looking, beautiful handout with some reflection questions or homework assignments, whatever it is you choose to do to enhance your video teaching. You could do this at a very low cost. You can do it with the tools you already have available to you or very low cost tools, and just be authentic. That's what people are looking for more than anything. They know you're not Beth Moore, so they're not going to expect a Hollywood presentation, a Hollywood quality presentation. They're just going to expect to hear from you. And there's still tremendous value in that. So never shy away from doing video because you think you're not camera ready. As simple as taking a message you would share with a small group in a classroom and conveying it on video in a very authentic manner. And there's tremendous value in that. It's about the content that you're sharing, not necessarily the production.
Yeah, so true. So true. And if it's valuable information, they're not going to be thinking, why didn't they spend a ton of money on these videos? And I'm sure just like with book marketing, everybody would be wondering, so if I put together this digital product, how do I market it? Can you talk a little bit about that? Is that something I'm guessing you probably share in your course? How to go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a course called Profitable Digital Products Method, and it walks through the whole process, but I would be very happy to give you an overview of what that looks like. To market a digital product, I like to say you need to have a system set up to do that in a way that doesn't require you to sit at your desk while the sales are rolling in. And that is called a sales funnel. It essentially means you have a sales page on a website, and someone will land on that sales page and they'll be interested in your product because your sales page tells them what the benefits of that product are. And then they have the opportunity to click a button to go to a checkout page. They purchase the product, and from there, you're automatically set up so that those people are tagged in your email system, whether you use ConvertKit or MailChimp or MailerLite, whatever it is. They're tagged to get an email that then delivers a link to the product. So once all that is set up, you don't have to do anything in order to deliver your product. It all happens automatically. So that's the process of a sales funnel. But then I like to say that's half the job. The second half of the job then is getting what I say is eyeballs. I like to say eyeballs on your funnel. You need to find people willing to look at your funnel and consider your sales page. And so that has to do with a system of digital marketing that you can do through email, you can do through social media, you can do it through organic strategies or free strategies, or you can use paid advertising. And there are a variety of strategies you can use once you have the sales funnel set up to get eyeballs on the sales funnel, and it becomes a snowball effect so that you have constant eyeballs on your sales funnel. And it's a math equation, really. So let's say you've done the research, or you've had your sales funnel up for a certain amount of time, and you just know from analyzing data that for every 100 people that land on your sales page, you get 15% of them purchasing the product. And of that 15% that purchases the product, they stay on your email list and they purchase subsequent products. And so it's just a math equation. So if I know I need to get 100 people looking at my sales page to get 15 people to purchase, and then let's say it's a $30 product. So I know, if I want to have X amount of dollars each month, I need to get a minimum of, let's say I want $450 a month. Okay. I need a minimum of 100 people looking at my page this month. So I get 15 purchases for a $30 product. And once you do that, it kind of becomes a fun game of, okay, what strategies can I use to get those 100 viewers to the page? And what strategies are working best for me? You can reach a point where you are knowledgeable enough about the system, how to get people to your funnel, how well your funnel is converting, that if you work toward getting, okay, now let's get 200 people to look at my sales page and 300 people. And then the income is incremental. And now you might say, I've got a couple $100 extra a month. I can hire someone else to help me with this, which frees up your time even more. So it simply it's a process of making more than you spend. So whatever it is, what time or energy or dollars you're spending on a sales funnel or on potentially advertising to your sales funnel, as long as you are making more than you spend and you're calculating how much people need to see so that you can generate a certain percentage of income back from it, it becomes fun. It becomes a fun kind of game. This is one of my favorite things to do when I wake up in the morning. I look at my payment gateway online and I find out how many products I sold overnight. It's fun because I got to sleep. In income, because of the automated sales funnel, income was generated into my family's budget.
Yeah, you bet.
And it's rewarding. It's rewarding because now this is X amount of dollars that I can reinvest in my ministry, or I can put toward the mortgage. And in that way, earning an honest income from the work that God has called us to do is good stewardship.
So true. Oh my gosh. So you go through all that in your course, I bet, right?
Yes, in detail.
Yeah, because that's hard stuff to grasp. And so, when we get an idea of, okay, I'll put together this kind of product, but then it's like, it's just like writing your book, right? Okay, I'll write this book, but then I don't want to market it. I don't know how to market it. And same thing. I don't know how to market my digital products. Is your course open?
The course is evergreen because I want it to always be available. The time is right for different people at different times. So I like to make sure that this product is evergreen. So, and I actually have a free masterclass, which you've seen, Kim.
Yes, I did. Yes.
It explains the root of this process. You get a lot of valuable information from it without a purchase. And that masterclass is called How to Create and Sell Digital Products Without Feeling Stupid because of the tech, without feeling salesy, can I sell something and still be a Christian? Yes, you can. And then, of course, without feeling sacrilege. The whole idea of God has called me to this. Does that mean that I can earn an income from it? So we address all of those topics in the masterclass and then give a little more insight into the course. And from there, you can enroll. So for the masterclass, it's simply ministrytobusiness.com/register.
Okay.
And that's the Evergreen Masterclass. You can join it anytime.
Okay,
And
perfect.
more information about the course itself is there. I also have a sales page for the course. That's ministrytobusiness.com/PDPM. And we can talk more about that if you would like to put it in show notes, but
Yes, absolutely.
PDPM for Profitable Digital Products Method. So we have a sales page where we explain more about the process offered in the course, but also that free masterclass. I really encourage people to take advantage of it because it's meant to teach and encourage whether or not you enroll in the course. I just feel very strongly that more and more people in our space, book writers and speakers, need to be aware that this is an opportunity for you and to get some tips on how to get started and how to overcome some mindset struggles. I don't even like that word, mindset. I think a lot of secular coaches use it and abuse it. So to me, I'm talking about taking every thought captive and ensuring that the way we are addressing our businesses is aligned with scripture. So that is something that I've been through a hard fought process of learning that myself and freeing myself to recognize that good stewardship means it is okay to earn an honest income if God has called me to this work as a vocation.
Yeah, you went through a lot of that in your masterclass, I know, and then, touched on a little bit of the technology and the funnels and some of those things. It was tons of information, right, that you get if you are not able to do the course today. I would definitely do the masterclass, and I'll put a note in the show notes for that. I also want to ask, because I didn't know about this either, the huddle that you guys are doing at Ministry to Business. So will you share about that too?
Yeah, the Ministry to Business has a coaching group, and it's interesting. It's called The Huddle. It's our online coaching group. We have about 250 members in there right now. It's a really active group of people. We love it. We continue to grow it because it is a space where all writers, speakers, podcasters, coaches, whatever, teachers, whatever your passion is in this area of online communication, we welcome you into the Huddle as a safe place to ask questions and learn more about monetizing in particular. So it's a coaching community where Katie Reed and Jonathan Purifoy and I are in there, and Lisa Jo Baker has been active. She's stepped aside for a while now because she has a big book deadline to work on. And so we have guest coaches come in there, and we meet in a Facebook forum. It's a Facebook group, but we also send out regular emails. We just want it to be a safe place where people in our space can come and learn about how to hone their craft. First of all, we did talk a lot about how do we pursue excellence as writers, speakers, podcasters. But secondly, how do we earn an honest income? That's really what we focus on. How do we earn an honest income from what we do? And so we come in once a month. We have a group training. It's a live team coaching, and we bring in an expert to talk on a topic. And every Monday, we have a post called Huddle Help. We want you to ask any question related to whatever you're working on. And the coaches will come in and answer those questions directly. We will review what you're working on. We'll give you feedback. And the other huddlers also can come in and provide feedback and support. Every Wednesday, we ask everybody to post, what are you working on? How can we celebrate you? What are your wins from this week? So we do Wednesday wins. And we also do a Wednesday wins live pop-in training with one of the coaches every Wednesday, giving a few tips. It's just maybe a 5 to 10 minute video on a tip for the topic of the week. And then on Fridays, we give away freebies because we like freebies. And so we have contests where you can enter to win. Some Fridays, here's a $50 Starbucks card. Everybody can use it until it's gone. It's just a fun community where we welcome people in to feel like it's a safe place to explore this topic of earning an income from your ministry work, because so many of us have had misgivings about that in the past, misunderstandings about it in the past, have even been criticized for selling something. So we want it to be a safe place where we learn together what are some of the strongest principles that we can apply to earning a God-honoring income from the work that we do, and why. Why is that okay? And then how? How do you do it? How do you grow that audience? How do you grow your list of buyers? How do you approach people with what you have to offer in a way that doesn't come across as salesy? We stand by that very strongly. I do not appreciate salesy type of message. I do not like a bait and switch. So we're always talking about, how do we not come across that way? How can you authentically communicate with your audience about something that you're offering in a way that actually appeals to them and draws them in versus repelling them? And because there are ways to do that. And it all has to do with your authenticity and understanding that selling is not wrong as long as it's done with integrity.
Yeah, that's an amazing community. Yeah, I had no idea. So I'm so glad you shared about that because, and as we go into, it's just such a huge shift in our minds of making money, right? In our ministries. Yeah. But then as we go look around for that information, like if we wanted to do a course or anything else, speaking or anything that can make some money, all you find are the resources that are just like, you have to, do this. It's just so hardcore. Like you just have to do this and this and make all this money and blah, blah, blah. It's just so overwhelming. And it's like, no, I just, I'm just at step one. Like and I need somebody that gets where I'm at in ministry and trying to convert that to a business. So that's a wonderful community. And I'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes. So I want to ask you lastly, Becky, as an author of multiple books, can you share what's working now for you to meet new readers?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny you ask that because as soon as I shifted gears a little bit to coaching other writers, I have grown my network of fellow writers who are eager to help share what I'm working on. So I find for me, it's really networking with other authors who are also readers. And I find that I'm meeting new people whose books I want to share and they're interested in what I'm doing. So they want to share. So for me lately, especially since this past year and a half, we've felt very isolated and there's been more of a need for connecting online. And so I've found more champions for what I do just through networking with other authors. And then vice versa, I am eager to champion what they do. So whether that's being featured on their blogs or on their podcasts, I think if we go into networking and relationships with others in our space with a heart to give, you will find that those people want to reciprocate. So for me, it's really been building more of my network. And through selling digital products, I continue to grow my email list with a list of people who are already vetted as being interested in exchanging money for what I have to offer. So in doing so, I continue to do email marketing for my book. And of course, podcasts are a tremendous way. And you and I were talking, off mic before, just about the real value in sharing the message of your book on other people's podcasts. And how can we do that? How do we reach out to fellow podcasters or others who are serving our audience with their podcast? How can we form a reciprocal relationship so that they're willing to share the information of my book and I'm willing to share information of their podcast to my readers? So for me, it's really about reciprocation. Who am I developing a relationship with who's willing to share what I have to offer and I can share what they have to offer? And I find that's the most satisfying way of marketing my books these days.
Oh, that's so great. You put relationships first. And that being a guest on a podcast, as we were talking about, just, there's so many new ones coming out. So just if you've already launched your book, don't think that can't still happen because there's new podcasts that haven't heard anything about your book. And often podcast hosts they're wanting to grow their own show. And so they want to be a guest on podcasts. So they're looking to do swaps. But what a great way that, if you didn't host a podcast, you could still propose that you could share the podcast with your email list or on social media. Well, this has been so good. So I'm going to put all the links for Ministry to Business for sure in the show notes. But we also tell people how they could connect with you if they wanted to connect with you on social or on your own website to learn about your books and coaching?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking, Kim. So you can find me at becky@beckykopitzke.com is my email. Anybody can email me at any time. And my website, my personal website is beckykopitzke.com. You can also go to ministrytobusiness.com and you'll find a link to the masterclass that I mentioned. You'll find a link to the Ministry to Business guide. You'll find a link to the course, and the huddle. So everything that we offer in Ministry to Business is on ministrytobusiness.com, as well as links to Ministry to Business from beckykopitzke.com. But you basically can kind of find me anywhere. Feel free. Anyone is welcome to email me anytime if they have questions or interested in resources. And I just love connecting with other writers and listeners on podcasts. So I'm just an open book as far as my email. Love to hear from
thank
people.
you. Yeah, that's awesome. You're so generous, Becky. I appreciate that. Well, thanks for being here to serve our listeners today. It's been incredible, of course, as I expected.
Thank you, Kim. It's really fun to be here. And I just want to say to everybody who's listening, I want to champion what you're doing. It is not easy to write a book. It is not easy to put yourself out there. And the world needs more positive messages. So just keep doing what you're doing.
That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Kim.
Y'all, isn't Becky the best? be sure to check out the Ministry to Business Guide. I'll put a link in the show notes at bookmarketingmania.com. And if you want to sell some of those digital products on your own podcast, be sure to check out the bundle of resources I shared about in the beginning from the Podcaster's Kit. And you can find that at bookmarketingmania.com/kit. That's all for today, and know that I'm cheering you on as I help you market your book one podcast at a time. See you next week.